So today's webinar, we'll start today's webinar. We have Dr. Fahizah Abdullah with us. She has pursued her BDS in 2017. She's from 2017 batch from MS Ramaya Dental College, Bangalore, and MDS 2021 batch from Yenepoya Dental College. She's currently pursuing a PhD from Yenepoya Dental College, which specializes in periodontal ligament stem cells and working actively on research in oral cancer patients. She's also working as subject matter expert in digital education platform called as MediStudy Go. She's also the winner of MSME Women Hackathon 3.0, which got her 15 lakh rupees from the Government of India. She's a team member of Elevate Grant, 18 lakh rupees from the Government of India, and selected in the top 10 for Manipal MedTech Hackathon. Over to you, Dr. Fahiza.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I think I'll start my presentation only because most of that is there in that as well. So probably we can just start sharing. Is it visible?
Yes, visible.
So first of all, my research started only after my MDS when I got into research. So once you finish your MDS, you always have that doubt like, what next? And that's when I had like various opportunities go into clinics or join as a staff, go get into research, and I was somehow oriented towards research, and that's when probably as soon as I finished my MDS, I joined as a senior research fellow in Yanapaya College, and also started pursuing my full-time PhD as well. So, senior research fellow is my temporary position in Yenapoya. So, while doing that, I learned a lot of things. Like there are different levels of funding for your research, which we were never exposed to, which I think most of the dentists are never exposed to, and the different quality of studies, kind of studies which you can do and which you can't do, what are feasible for you to do. All that learned in the past few years of my experience as a research fellow. So it's all nice and glamorous when you look from outside that, oh, I got a 15 lakh grant. But the journey was definitely not easy for me because it didn't start directly like, oh, the government giving me 15 lakh rupees. No. It took me a lot of trial and error, probably at least 15 to 18 grant submissions, rejections, and after that, probably reaching a point of getting a grant. So, yeah, so this is a grant which I got for radiation shielding material for gingival cancers in patients after radiotherapy. So, let's see my how did I start getting it. So the two main projects which I work on are evaluation of shielding devices developed for protecting the non-target tissues during radiotherapy of oral cancer patients, and in vitro assessment of multilineage differentiation potential of oral periodontium derived mesenchymal stem cells on a hydrogel based scaffold. Now both of these sounds like really a hi-fi study, but let me just brief it down to it. Like, so if you see about the shielding devices, so we have oral cancer patients, they undergo radiotherapy. So when they undergo radiotherapy, we know that there are side effects of that. There is oral mucositis happening, there's mobility of the teeth after that, there's osteoradionecrosis, and various kind of side effects are seen over that. But the radiation shielding as such has been there for outer surfaces, like we have lead shielding. Now we wanted to replace that in the oral cavity, but definitely we can't put lead inside our oral cavity, right? So we tried different kind of materials, and we have come up with a combination of materials finally, which has been in the product level now. It's in TRL stage 6, where it is in the R&D stage, final stages, where clinical trials are going to happen soon, where we place wherever the non-targeted tissues, like if the cancer is in the cheek region, the other areas will be shielded with that material. And when there is radiotherapy happening, those areas, the non-targeted tissues will be safe from radiation. So that was the basis of this study. So for this study is what I got the MSME grant, and yeah, so that's what. So it's like basically a denture kind of shielding, like wherever the non-targeted tissues are. So this area of research comes under oral cancer. It can come under biomedical devices, radiotherapy, biomaterials. So it's very important to know your research areas, because those are going to be your thrust areas which you're going to look into later, whatever kind of research you're going to do. One more topic which I'm working on is periodontal ligament stem cells. Now, how this came to me is, this is my PhD topic which I'm working on. So when I was a periodontist and I used to do a lot of periodontal surgeries and open flap realignment, we see a lot of tissues getting wasted. Even gingivectomy, gingival procedures, crown lengthening procedures, we just remove the gingival tissue and just throw it away. So my idea was, what if we can take out those useful stem cells like periodontal ligament stem cells or gingival mesenchymal stem cells? What if we can, isolate and then reuse it for periodontal regeneration? So that was the main base of this kind of study which I got into. So from there, now at present, the initial in vitro studies are happening where I'm extracting, isolating, and characterizing the stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells, from these isolated granulation tissues and whichever discarded tissues from the periodontology department or even from the oral surgery department. Because when you do extraction, you have that thick granulation tissue which you see at the roots of the teeth. So those are also like, collected, isolated, packed, characterized in the lab. So it took me at least a year of stem cell training, because when we do PhD, the problem with this is we can't depend on others. When we depend on others, our area of research takes a lot of time. So when I went to the lab, I just had to do observation for at least like 8 to 9 months to see how to do the stem cells, how is the extraction of the stem cells. Like I was like a basic level where I didn't know anything about the lab, chemicals, nothing, media is available, everything. So everything had to be learned from scratch, and then probably now I'm confident in, like, if you give me a tissue, like I can extract a mesenchymal stem cell from that and regrow it. So this area of research comes under regenerative medicine, periodontology, stem cell therapy, even biomaterials, because we are developing a hydrogel based scaffold in our institution as well. Uh, so, what are the other projects I'm working on as well? So, along with oral cancer patients, we are even considering the options of extending that radiation shielding material into other parts of the body as well. Then we are also checking the efficacy of gingival mesenchymal stem cells, using that as a targeted delivery system for oral cancer patients. Then this was a project which is already completed. That is a comparative evaluation of two non-invasive assessment of gingival biotype in orthodontic patients. I'm also co-investigating a development and community-based evaluation of a gamified approach. So basically, we are developing a game for substance abuse awareness. So that in the initial stage itself, like people get awareness about the substance abuse game, and probably like see how it retracts from there. Then also a natural medicament which we're working on, improving the keratinization of the oral tissues, and comparison of the effectiveness of the different kinds of commercially available dentifrices for dentinal sensitivity. There are also two patents which we are working on, that is the disinfecting toothbrush and the alternatives for fluoride application tray. This is still in the provisional patent level. Coming to, again, MSME grant as such, to gain that, I had to go through a lot of rejections. So, which are the different kind of funding agencies which I had applied before? First was Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. It's called AARB. So it has a program called as Safety CSRP. Basically, CSRP scheme where you have to apply for anything radiation related kind of funding. So we had applied in this, we got rejected. Investigator initiated research program. I think at least 3 times I've applied for this. All 3 times I've got rejected. uh, Big biotechnology ignition grant. This is one of the biggest funding opportunity even for startups. Like if you have a private limited company and if you want to try for any funding, this is one of the most known funding which is available. This is again by DBT, that is Department of Biotechnology funds it. So this is up to 50 lakhs you can get. And in this also we had applied, and there are 3 stages. We had reached the final stage. We had gone to Delhi for presentation and we got rejected over there. And the next was call of letter of intent. So they tell you like, okay, just like put a concept proposal. Let's see if you like it. And they had liked it. Again, 3 rounds of presentations and communication with them we had done. And in the again final round, we got rejected. And SERB Power Research Grants. Again, we had applied for that. Also rejected. SERB Sure, as a woman, you can apply for power researches. And SERB Sure, also we had applied that. That also we have got rejected. But again, in these 2 places, we have applied for different projects as well. Then ICMR DHR Women Scientist. 2 years back, 2 times I have already applied for this, got rejected for my stem cell study. Now again I have applied this year. Let's see, inshallah. Then coming to that game version, Department of Science and Technology, they give funding for technology related kind of apps, and which can help in education of the professionals or even for the public. So that kind of proposal this was. So we have submitted our proposal here as well. So finally, after all those rejections and failures, we have got 2 grants for our research. One is of 15 lakhs from MSME Hackathon Women 3.0. This is by the government of India. And then we have also got for our company, Masha Radpro Private Limited, which is by the startup Karnataka. So here we got a grant of 18 lakhs. Now, how do we do research? Like, how do you start? Like, you have no idea, right? Like, like, where to even begin with? So then there are 2 ways for this. Now, if you already have something in mind, probably a small idea or, something invention or something already is there, you need to work on it. You need to more focus on it. You need to search areas of that which has already been done and which needs to be done. Like every publication, if you see in the end, they write what are the future possibilities, or in their conclusion, they write what can be done in the future. So you need to target those areas, and probably whatever you're interested in, you can start, converting that into a proper research work. Now, what you don't have any idea, like you don't know what you want to work on, you have no idea. So that this part, what you should do is you need to see the thrust areas. Like every funding agency, like the ICMR or DBT or DST or anything, Science and Technology, Department of Biotechnology or Indian Council of Medical Research, they all have their own thrust areas which they fund for. So we need to target those, and probably you can get a idea from that. Example, if you go to this ICMR website, you have these trust areas like the communicable diseases, reproductive and child health, nutrition, non-communicable diseases, basic medical science. Now, under these, we have different headings like tuberculosis, malaria, dengue, maternal mortality, infertility, neonatal health, micronutrient deficiencies. Now, these like cancer, mental health, stem cells, genomics, microbiome, drug delivery, herbal remedies, then environmental factors, tribal health, all that. These are the thrust areas which currently ICMR is looking into for funding purposes. So probably you can connect as a dentist, we have something related to the oral cavity, right? So when we have the oral cavity, how can we connect this thrust areas into our oral research or dental research? So that probably if we can get a connection with, then you can apply for these this kind of funding agency. So similar way, every funding agency like the DBT or the Department of Biotechnology, they are looking into more of biomedical devices or something with biomedtech, where you can have a device which help in health or oral health or any other health areas. So that becomes your DBT, that is Department of Biotechnology thrust areas. Now, DST, that is Department of Science and Technology. If you are related to any technological things like apps, you want to create an easier apps for patient approvals or something like that. So if that comes, that probably comes under DST. So each funding agency will have their own thrust areas. And if you don't have a proper topic or something, you can go into these funding agency websites and see what are they currently funding. And from there, you can start your research. That becomes more easier because you have at least some chances of getting your funding from there. Now, I don't have to tell this as such what are the different kinds of studies which we can do, but probably I can tell observational studies quite easy. Whatever is happening, just observe, create a data, collect the data, convert it into a research work. Then we have retrospective studies. Retrospective studies, go into college, find the data, what is existing, previous studies, what have been done, what is the data being collected, convert that into a research. Questionnaire studies, very straightforward, put out a questionnaire. But these are all like don't have as much impact as your original study, which is randomized controlled trials. Then review articles, systematic analysis, in vitro studies, case reports. I think as dentists, we have amazing cases which come to us. Probably we can convert those and case series, animal studies, all that. Now, here the problem comes is we as a clinician directly can't do these studies. We can do studies, but we don't get that much of opportunity. But if you're associated with an institution, it becomes very easy to apply and to do these kind of studies. The reason being that ethics, ethical approval is very important for us to get any kind of study funded as well as published. For any publication or funding purposes, they need that ethical approval because that gives your authenticity of your work. Like if you have done no original work, to get that authenticity of your work, we need the ethical approval and the scientific review board approval. Now that happens, it can happen other with the local agencies whichever are available, but that doesn't have that much weightage of how much a college has. So if you're not working as a faculty, if you're working only as a clinician, the best route would be to collaborate with one of the institute person or a faculty based. So that way your collaboration also becomes very strong. So we'll be talking about that probably in the next. So, okay, so let's talk about how to conduct this research. Refine the topic. I know we all get ideas all the time. We can do that. We can do this. There are so many areas we can, tap into and all that. But we we need to figure out if things have already been done, if it is being done, or how much of it is left to be done. Basically, go into different articles, whichever your area of your research is, see what has been done. I would say Google search. That's Google search is one of the easiest thing. You put in there, you will know like last 10 years, what are the updates happening in that area. There are crazy, developments and technologies and innovations in the dental area, which we are all so ignorant about. So keeping us or ourselves updated is like so important, especially in the so fast changing world. So one area is focus. Refine the topic, like focus on the topic, figure out exactly where is the gap. Like your research work has to bridge a gap. There is something which is not available in the market, it is not being there, and your research is helping to cover that up. And feasibility. Like even if you think now, if I think, I want to do robotic dentistry, but it's not feasible for me, right? Like it can't happen like minute or something. Like you need to see your setup. How is it there? Do you have all the resources available? Even if you don't get the funding, at worst come worst case, how will you get the resources for it? That all that again, what is required, what is not required, everything you will get through literature search. The two best sources of data search is Google Scholar and PubMed. Google Scholar, you type two notions like two words. You can find the keywords over there, and then beside me, you can customize it to whichever date you want to see it. All that. So again, PubMed also same thing. PubMed, it's more validated because you have, PubMed indexed is like the standard. So Google Scholar might have studies which have like very predatory journal kind of research work going on, but PubMed is going to be the standard kind of. So that makes it more makes it have more credibility. This is, I feel, as a clinician, if we want to do research, this is one of the most important thing. And we can't just because my friend is a faculty over there, let's do a collaborative study. Doesn't make sense, because if you're doing all the work and that person is like, okay, I just helped you because you wanted to do the study, again it doesn't make sense. So I would suggest that always find the expert in whatever research you're doing. Like, find a person who has equivalent interest or the excitement of your research work which you're doing. So that becomes to find the research expert in your field. Or, and again, more of collaborative research, like you find different kinds of people. Don't just think that because I'm associated with him or I know him very well, probably he'll help me out. It doesn't make sense. You will be ending up doing all the work, and that becomes a burden on you as well. And what is available to do your research? See what can be done. Even if you find the university, see in those universities what are the available facilities. Is it feasible for you to do it? So all that comes under your collaboration pieces. Now, coming to writing a research proposal, it's in itself a very long topic on exactly how to write. But I'll just go through it quickly so that we have an idea. Like, it's not like just writing a small paper and like publishing it. So, what are the headings which the grant writing happens under? So, first we have a cover letter. Cover letter is nothing but like how we write for publications, a small cover letter. Just a gist of whatever summary we have, we just apply it and write it and put it in the cover letter. Then we have the title. Always use keywords and what kind of study is this, and the target audience. These are the three things which we have to keep in mind when we write the title. The keywords, what is required, I mean, who are the target audience, and what kind of study are you doing. So keep it to the point, start at the last. Don't use over-promising words. Always better to include the target audience and the keywords. Not very long and not too short. So these are the examples which I've given side. So don't keep it very short as well. Don't keep it very long as well. So keep it medium level. Project summary is always to be written in the end after you write the entire project. Brief one sentence points of your entire proposal. Start with a very interesting. This is one thing which I learned. Whenever the reviewers are reviewing, they read the project summary first. Even though you have to always write the project summary in the end, but they read it in the first, and then only they go to see the rest of the grant. Only if that seems interesting, then they go to read the next. So your project summary has to be like top notch. It has to be, like very interesting or engaging for them to read the entire proposal. Problem need. This is one thing which they stress on always. I think every grant, this was one of the major thing which we have to stress on. Like, why are you doing this? What is the existing research? And how is your research going to bridge the gap of what is missing? Coming to aims and objectives, overall goal of the project. Objectives like should be like continuous. It can't be like one objective A hai, uske baad like it is not continuous with the second and the third objective. Then make it like measurable, because in grant writing, they're going to give you money. So when they're giving you money, they ask justification for everything. So your objective should be in such a way where you know that after one objective, this is going to be my outcome of that objective, and that becomes your indicators of progress. So there is always a portion in your justification part which they ask. Probably it's a timeline kind of thing. They ask us what is the objectives, what are you going to do with that objectives, and what are the indicators of progress. So in that indicators of progress, you'll have to justify, like in objective one, what are you going to gain. So that becomes your measurable objectives. and use action verbs to frame your objectives, to investigate or to analyze, to compare. That gives it more, it elevates your objectives. Novelty. What makes your research very unique? Specific gap existing and how yours is the first ever made solution. How is it going to help the people around? Methodology. Depends on what you're doing. It becomes different kind of things. Like keep something standard like the previous articles. Probably they know that methodology has been done. So you're not doing something very new altogether, but something deviating from the original what has happened. So this helps your research get into the secondary data as well and split the objective wise methodology. Evaluation plan, Gantt chart. Gantt chart is something like this where they tell you like what is your first month objective, second month objective, what are you going to do every month will have to be justified. Again, indicators of progress have to be told. Outcome, what is your research going to give the society? A product, research results, or drug efficacy, or data presentation. So all this is like, what are you going to deliver to this thing? What is your long-term efficacy of your project or your research, what you're going to do? So that comes under the outcomes or the deliverables, what you have to write. Then the budget. This is probably the main thing which they ask and look for. You have to justify why you're getting this and what you're uh, using this money for. So probably when like a lot of people when I got the grant, they told me like, oh, 15 lakhs, life ban gaya abhi. Like, you can use it and this thing. But it doesn't happen like that. I don't get the money directly. The institution gets the money. So when the institution gets the money, I have to justify every product. Probably I have to give the product this thing first, and then they release the money for me. Like, okay, now you can go and purchase. I have to give them the quotation of that, and then they give this much money. So again, as I told you, it looks all glamorous from outside to get a grant. It is good because your research quality improves like really well, but it is not easy as how it sounds. It's not direct money which you get into your bank account and you can use it however you want. No, there are like levels of it where you have to submit quotations, justifications, everything has to be like clear shot, and then you get the money for your research. Then coming to the references. References bibliography, we mostly try to select as recent articles as available. The most used style is Vancouver, but other kind of articles might have different other funding agents. It's like different kinds of grant writing will have different kinds of rules and regulations to write the grant writing. Google Scholar, how you can cite the reference, can go there. Next, scientific review board and institutional ethics committee. So this is why I told it is very important to for us to join along with the institution, because we need this for any kind of research work, especially when the government is funding you. This is a must, like scientific review board approval as well as the institutional ethics approval. Coming to funding. So, as a staff, most of the colleges and universities have these internal grants, like they are called as seed grants, where the faculty, as a faculty member, you can apply for your research work and the university has to fund your research work. That becomes your internal grant or internal funding. External funding, again, it's an outsourced funding, like where your government of India pays for you or any other private agencies funding for you, all sort of things. Now, there are three types of that: regional, national, and international. So, regional becomes your state wise or your area wise. So, what happens? We have in Karnataka, we have something called as VGST grants, VGST research funding. So, that one of my mentor has already got that for 4 lakhs. So Karnataka actually funds for your research work. Startup Karnataka also is there. So where they fund for startups in Karnataka or any kind of research work from Karnataka. Similarly, when I tried searching for other states, not every state has that. We have that opportunity for research funding from the government of Karnataka. So I think we need to make use of it as much as possible. Because Delhi, when I searched, Delhi didn't have any funding agency for research, being the national capital of India, but Karnataka had. So it's good. National, again, there are a lot of agencies which we'll be talking about, and then international funding agencies. Coming to extramural funding agencies, which is India, the top ones for medical research are ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, DBT, Department of Biotechnology, DST, Department of Science and Technology, UGC, University Grants Commission, Department of Atomic Energy, BIRAC, Biotechnology Industrial Research Assisted Council, CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, SERB, Science and Engineering Research Board, Ayush, anything related to Ayurveda, Naturopathy, Unani, DRDO, Defense Research Development Organization. So these are the top fundings from the medical research. Let me just go through quickly the schemes which are available in the ICMR websites. Ad hoc research schemes. These are large investor initiated grants. Senior research fellowships, senior research associates, junior research fellowships, emeritus medical scientist scheme, short term research student for undergraduates. When you're doing your undergraduation itself, you can get a research project. I think you get a stipend of 40,000. When you're doing BDS, as a BDS student, you can apply for this. National Task Force Projects, Center for Advanced Research, guidance for international collaborations for research in biomedical. So we have various international collaboration which ICMR already has. So for any kind of collaborative research work, ICMR International Fellowships for Indian Biomedical Scientists, ICMR Financial Assistance for MD, MDS thesis, MS thesis, DM thesis, all that ICMR provides. This comes up to almost 50,000 per year for MDS thesis. Grant in aid for organizing all seminars, symposia, workshops, even travel grant they have. Long-term, short-term fellowships for training in Indian institutes, long-term for foreign institutes, fellowship program for young scientists who are below 30 years, and for women scientists with any age with experience, but they need to have a career break. Then under UGC, we have Emeritus Fellowship, Postgraduate Indira Gandhi Fellowships. For single girl child postgraduate merit scholarship scheme for university rank holders, research fellowship in sciences for meritorious students, Rajiv Gandhi National Fellowship for SC/ST candidates, junior research fellowship and research associateship, postdoctoral fellowship to women candidates, and Maulana Azad National Fellowships for minority students. Coming to DBT, JRF, Junior Research Fellow, Research Associate, Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award, Tata Innovation Fellowship, Hargovinda Khurana Innovative Young Biotechnologist Fellowship, Janaki Amal National Women Bioscientist Awards, S. Ramachandran National Bioscience Award for Career Development, National Biotechnology Innovation Award, fellowship programs international and domestic from DBT. DST, we have, if you are a faculty and if you are already in a center, like for a research center as such. So funding for improvement of infrastructure in universities, promotion of university research and scientific excellence, sophisticated analytical instrument for your studies if you require, synergistic training program in utilizing the scientific and technological infrastructure. I'm just going to go fast because there are different kinds of these are all the things which I've researched for at least like 2-3 years and I've just piled it up. So graduate fellowships, research grants, Case Krishnan Research Associateship, BIRAC has big scheme, students innovation for translation and advancement of research explorations, promoting academic research. Again, international level, also there are funding agencies. You might be lucky to even get accredited by the international level by British Council, Commonwealth Foundation, Ford Foundation, Fulbright Commission, Harry Ransom Human Research, Toyota Foundation. So all that, Indo-US Science and Technology Forum. And these are the collaborations which India already has with different countries. Like it has Asian, it is a India collaborative R&D program with the 7 countries. BRICS multilateral projects with Spain, it has Japan, it has Germany, it has UK, US, Russian, Australian, Norway. So there are different collaborations where you can do exchange kind of research in these countries. So this is also again a research international exchange program, mostly for students, probably MD students or the MDS students or PhD students or postdoc students. Now again conducting the study, try choosing topics which are more people are not involved. So this becomes more like if you include more and more people, it'll be a very good study, but it'll take you a lot of time and ethical considerations you should look at. Actually, this topic was done for the MDA students. So this sentence I had added it over there. Keep deadlines and work towards it. Try to balance with the research and your clinics. Keep updating yourself with literature. Don't push the study for too long. Like if you have a target of a research work, try to finish as much as possible. Coming to submissions, make a checklist for the end of study report. This is very important because after every probably 6 months, review of what is happening, evaluate it, redo it, go through all the literature review, what's happening, try to analyze the final data for yourself, keep the SRB report, ethics report as carefully as possible because it is required for submission in the end for the grant as well as for your publication purpose as well. Again, publication, you can put it in different kind of journal finders to Elsevier journal finders, Springer journal suggester, Wiley journal finder. All of these, you can put your small abstract of your project work and you can do your publication over there. Try not publishing in predatory journals as such because you're not going to get any credibility of your research work which happened. Networking, I felt this was one of the biggest thing which I learned. Going to conferences, meeting new people, understanding different work which is happening. So example, yesterday itself I had gone to a conference in Manipal and I saw Scan-O. I don't know how many of us know this, but it's a AI related scanning of an entire dental system. Like there will be a camera and like just like Digiyatra, it scans your teeth overall and it tells you exactly everything what is wrong with your teeth. Like it has stains, calculus, it has fractures, it has cavities, everything is on the there, and you just have to see the treatment options and then you can go to the dentist and get the treatment done. And also pricing options are also there. So that was one of the first time I've seen something like that. Just yesterday I saw it. So that was, I felt that way networking and going to conferences, talking to different dentists makes us like really understand what's happening out there. Then next plan, I feel collaboration is always a good thing. Have Don't start with the research work thinking that I'm going to do research for the next 2 years and then I'm done with. If you start a research work, make sure you take it like ahead to get your final result out of it. I don't think it should stop at very early stage. It can go for a very long time. So these are the different kinds of research grants. For research purposes, you can get a seminar workshop grant, you can get for training program, fellowship grant, travel grant, publication grant, seed grant, center for excellence, and equipment grants. So this was my topic for today. Just telling you all the funding opportunities which are available. I have been doing this since past 3 years, so I know the different areas which are being funded and different agencies. So just wanted to probably, I think Gausi ma'am told me like, you need to tell it to the different people who don't know about it. So that's why here I am presenting this presentation over here. Um, Yesterday there was a small release of my book. So this is something called as a mind map book for BDS students, where so this is called as a mind map. So the entire topic will be concised into one, just for them to last minute do the revision tool kind of thing. So that book was released yesterday. So we have almost like 250 topics on which we did this mind maps, and all the illustrations were done by us in the digital form. Every illustration, like I gave them the clinical pictures, they converted into a digital art of it, and they put it in the book. and that book is getting released. I mean, it got released yesterday. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Faiza. It was an excellent presentation. Most of the questions, whatever doubts I had, you've already answered most of it. So it was really interesting. We have a few questions now.
Okay.
Uh,
Can I
Dr.
stop
Neha,
sharing?
yes, please.
Oh,
Yes, so Dr. Neha has a question.
okay.
Pursuing PhD from RGHS is better or from a deemed university, which provides the best facilities?
Technically speaking, I would say if you have an opportunity to do PhD outside India would be the best, because the quality of research work and the PhD work and the acceptance of PhD work abroad and outside India has more weightage than our PhDs over here. That being said, I don't know how RGHS PhDs are actually, because different. I don't know about the facilities which they provide and everything. But in Yenagoya, as such, we have amazing research center. We have a very good research facilities available. Same goes with Manipal as well as Abhishetty as well. So I am associated with these colleges. So I know these private universities have very good research facilities available. So that being said, I don't know how the RGHS facilities are there. So I'm not able to comment on that.
Okay, well put. So now we have another question. Dr. Neha again asks, by pursuing PhD, it does add value for it. Does it add value to the educational institution or does it add value to our regular practice? Is it possible to do PhD along with practice or it needs total dedication?
See, there are different options for it. Like there is part-time PhD as well. So if you're a dedicated researcher and you are like, for sure you want to do research, then I think it makes sense. But if you're into regular practice and you're just doing it for the sake of PhD, that degree as such, doesn't make sense because you're not going to get anything extra out of it. It's just that probably you'll get an extra degree on your CV. And yeah, that's what. But if you're into research and you're really interested, then I think you should go ahead for sure.
Okay. So if our study is related with data science, is it possible we can procure government scholarship which is provided to non-medical stream?
Example, scholarship for computer scholar who is using data science. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, like, see, I got to know about the this thing opportunities for funding or scholarships or fellowships because I went into like dentistry mein kya hai, like what are the options for dentist, what as a dentist how do I get grants, how do I get the funding, what are my opportunities. So obviously I haven't gone through computer science or something, but I'm sure it's available as such because the amount of funding which an IIT or computer based education system is getting is much more than what our dental field is getting. So I'm sure if you look into those areas, definitely there'll be government scholarships for those and fellowships.
Okay. And when do we apply for this funding? Once the topic is selected or in between the research?
So we actually start with one topic, but that doesn't end up being a research work actually, because we go with like, this is how my research is going to be. But when you actually get into it, you realize the difficulties and probably how to develop it into a better research, and then you deviate into something else only, not in total but reroute probably in a for a better way. So if you select a topic first and if you're applying for a funding, you will end up reshaping your research into whatever that funding agency is required. Like example, you have oral cancer. Okay, I have oral cancer and I'm doing research on oral cancer. So if I have to give it to an radiation agency like AERB, I will concentrate more on the radiation part of it. Like, this is how we are going to come out with the research and this is going to be the outcome of it and all that. But same thing if I'm doing with ICMR, I'll concentrate more on the patient oriented, like oral cancer patients. They are going to get benefit out of it. So that comes becomes my outcome or deliverable. So whatever your research topic is, you need to have a base research topic, and the funding will happen like as per what they want. Like that shape you'll give to that funding research.
Okay. Also, initially you said that you have a Gantt chart and you have to show what objectives you're going to achieve each month, right? What if
Yes.
you're not able to keep up with it for some reason,
See,
perhaps?
for some reason, perhaps there are different kinds of penalties for it if you don't keep up.
Okay.
If they have given the grant and you don't finish the research work on time, and if you've done the research and you're not able to this thing, they will understand. Like there are, you can justify, like this is why I couldn't complete. There was a genuine reason, they'll be like fine. But if you got the grant and then you're not doing any research, you're just keeping the money with you, then they'll like revoke the grant for sure. Like they'll be like, hello, send us back the money. Even if 3 rupees or 4 rupees is left from that research grant at the end of 3 years, or if you're given the duration of 2 years or 3 years, at the end of that, when you give that utilization certificate report, you need to justify every report. If you have not justified it, they ask you back the money, how much ever is
Okay.
pending.
Okay.
Actually, we had a this thing of VGST only. It was done in probably 2016. They're asking us now also, like there's something which is going wrong because some new auditor has come and he wants to go through everything which has already been done. So that time there is some discrepancy. So we are like, that was that time, and we have like cleared the bills and everything was given to them. So it's like that. Like even those 2, 3 rupees also, they'll be like, why, where it went, how it went. All that has to be justified.
Okay. So I would like to ask all the attendees if they have any more questions to please post it on the chat.
Book publication. Notes on book publication. Um, I haven't reached the stage of book publication yet. It's still negotiation is happening. So I really can't talk much about it. But once probably I get to know how it happens and what are the difficulties or the challenges I face and how it can be overcome, we'll have another talk on that probably. Now it's still in the process of happening.
Okay. Any other questions?
That the applications can take really long. Like I think one of the DBT application which I gave, the first approval of the concept note, we had given a small concept note, and that came after 6 months. And after 6 months, they are like, we are interested in your topic, so send a full proposal. So after 6 months, we sent the full proposal, and they replied back to us after 8 months, telling that, your proposal looks nice. So we want a presentation of it. So after 8 months, again, we sent that presentation. And then we presented it. That was after 2 months. Again, they got back to us telling that it was a good thing, but probably next time you can do a better research or something like that. So because government funding agencies will really take a lot of time for this thing. Even not everything, like pick BIRAC if is there. That is also by DBT. They have limited like time. Like, they are like within 6 months, we want to clear it. So they will tell like within 2 months, we'll give you the result. Within the next 4 months, the money will come. So it will come along with that time. So it depends from agency to agency, like how they take it, how long they take. It's up to you. If you are well funded for yourself, I think you should take ahead. Don't wait for the funding, because anytime you can improve the quality of your research with the funds which you get all. So if you have self funding opportunities, I would like, tell you to put it in. Start with it. Then slowly, when you get the different, actually, you know what? When you do the research, you understand the problems and challenges which are being faced. So if you start the project itself, you'll know, okay, probably this area I need to make it like more polished or, more refined. So that way, when you get the grant, like, you have a base, okay, where I want the money and where it needs to be going, that is like ready for you. So I would suggest you to start the research with probably how much ever you have, and then like wait for the external money to come in.
Okay, I don't.
How we start the research but get the grants later, how do you justify the expense? So that again will depend on how you do it. Like if you're I don't think there's a chance of reimbursing the money which you get, like which you put in. So I told like start the research as in like a basic level where you don't put too much of your money. At least like start the research where you're able to do basic research to understand what is required and what is not required. So that like when the money comes, you know exactly where to put in where, like how to manage the entire budget. So you will not get that money which you have already put in for your basic research. Or there are ways where you can get it done as well, but probably you'll have to work around that.
I don't see any more questions. So, Rosia ma'am,
Thank you. You can go on with thanking Zina.
yes. So it was an excellent presentation. You summed up all the important points so that everybody understood everything clearly. It was very crisp, very clear. I would like to thank you, congratulate you once again on your on
Thank you so
achieving the
much.
grant, and again, all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all